into
Bro,
this.
we weren't even like, we were 4 seconds into Dave Lander literally joining it, and the first is like, how the fuck have you not watched movies? It's the first 3 seconds of off-air conversation.
This is beautiful.
Okay, so first of all, okay, anybody listening to this podcast, at least, especially if you're a DJ, if you haven't watched the movie Juice,
Riverside, motherfucker.
with Tupac, please watch the movie Juice, even if you're, 18 like Kevin is. Second of all, okay,
I'm looking it up now.
Radio Shorty, we need to talk about not watching movies, because to me, I've watched movies I have not even wanted to watch or enjoyed, because to me, part of being a DJ is understanding pop culture, and there are certain songs, that a lot of songs actually, that became popular because of movies.
Solely.
Dave, what movie have you watched unwillingly, but you got through it, but you hated it?
So I'm going to probably take some heat for this one, and but I will say that I am not a fan of the Big Lebowski.
Bummer. Huh? This is a bummer, man. That's a bummer.
And I was actually disappointed. I was super excited about it when I was going to watch it originally, and then I was just like, ugh, this movie's like not doing anything for me. But I felt like it was such a massive like pop culture movie that I was like, I have to watch this movie. Like it is important for me to watch and understand this movie as a DJ. I just felt it was. That's one example. But what was that movie that it wasn't a great movie, but I got through it. I didn't hate it, but what was the movie that the high school movie that Pursuit of Happiness and Heads Will Roll became famous from?
Yeah, that oh God, what the fuck was that? Man, people literally had like themed parties because of it. What the fuck was
Project
that?
X. Project X.
Project X. Yes.
Project X.
I've never
like
seen
that movie.
I have IMDb pulled up.
It's greatly increased the popularity of Heads Will Roll and this Steve Aoki remix of Pursuit of Happiness. So I feel like it's part of our job to know movie references, clips, culture.
So Kevin, to you, playing a quick game here, have I or have I not seen The Big Lebowski? Your thoughts?
You have not.
I have.
You have.
I have seen The Big Lebowski.
Did you like it?
I did like it.
Okay.
I was kind of shocked when Dave said he didn't, because I was
I feel like
definitely the pop culture reference.
I would like, but I didn't. I think I think the John Goodman character is hysterical. I mean, that would be my favorite. That would be my favorite part of the movie. Is just the inappropriateness of John Goodman in that movie.
I love the idea of like 3 character roles coming together of Steve Buscemi, Jeff Bridges, and John Goodman. The 3 of them is insanely hilarious together when the 3 of them are in the bowling alley. Like those scenes are probably some of the funniest.
Right, which are kind of side, like they're not part of the plot of the movie, but yeah, I mean, I think those are, I agree, some of the funniest scenes.
And I was having a conversation with Teddy and our neighbors actually yesterday. We were having some drinks out in our front yards, like a bunch of hillbillies. And we were talking about like how like some movies like Bridesmaids specifically we were talking about. Like eventually the plot takes over the amount of funniness and you sort of just like want to turn it off. Like a lot of Steve Carell movies to me, they hit like an hour and 10 minutes in and then I'm like all of a sudden it gets all serious and like dramatic and I'm just here for the laughs. So I can see somebody not. I completely disagree with you. I love The Big Lebowski, but at the same time, I totally understand where some people could not.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
So what? I mean, to me, I love Steve Carell obviously in the Office, and that's one of my favorite television series of all time. Sure. And I think the the first 5 minutes of what was the episode with the fire alarm? I can't remember the name of the episode. I'm gonna need to look it up here. It was the one that was on right after the Super Bowl.
The fire drill one?
Yeah, stress relief. That was it. Stress relief. I think that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Possibly the funniest 5 minutes of TV I've ever watched, of like an actual TV show. But I don't know. I like 40-Year-Old Virgin. I can't really think of many other Steve Carell movies I've watched. I feel like I don't know.
Well, so I'm thinking more like the Little Miss Sunshine type stuff, where it's super funny in the beginning because of all the characters that they put together, but then eventually they sort of just like seclude Steve Carell in his journey of, I don't remember that movie at all, but it's like where all of a sudden he's just like whiny. Paul Rudd played that character for a little while too, like before Ant-Man, where he was always, this is a movie podcast, I guess, by the way.
Welcome to
cool.
the Movie Popcorn Podcast.
Bro, first off, Dave, I prepped such an excellent introduction for you, and I was so ready. I have a picture of all the jobs you have on Facebook still listed. I was going to run down them and talk about all of them. I'm so excited to have you on. This was not like super short notice, but you were so, like, I hit you up last week, and I was like, listen, I'm trying to get some heavy hitters these next couple weeks, man. Like, we want to have big people on, and let's start it off with you. And you were very compliant to all of it, and then we just come in, and of course you just start spitting fire right away, so we don't get to give the introduction.
By the way,
so
speaking of Paul Rudd, if you or any of the listeners have ever not watched any of the Paul Rudd and Jimmy Fallon movie recreations, or I mean music video recreations.
Yeah.
Like, my personal favorite is Go West, the King of Wishful Thinking.
I don't need to fall at your feet just 'cause you cut me.
Because it is even the original video of that is one of the most random videos of all time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you got
I'm glad we're doing this at the beginning so that I can like throw all this stuff in the edit.
The thing with the movies thing for me is that, like you just said, like you get an hour in and then you just feel like, oh, fuck, what am I doing, right? You're like, and that's where I am with movies. Like for TV shows, the 30 minutes or whatever, cool, I can sit there and watch a quick 30-minute show. I watched a movie over the weekend. It was like suggested on Netflix. They have like a movies section now. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a movie. We can talk about it with Kevin since I don't ever watch movies. And I started watching it in like 30 minutes in. I'm like, what am I doing? But then I'm stuck. I'm already here. Like I had to watch this. It was called Something's Gotta Give. Do you guys even know what this is? It's with Jack Nichols or Nicholson, whichever one is in the golfer.
Helen Hunt, right?
Right. It was the dumbest. Like he's dating the daughter and then turns around and dates the mother, and then they're
I've never seen that movie, but I'm familiar with that movie.
Oh, there's just seeing the cover of it makes me want to throw up.
So
that type font in the middle. Ugh.
I will say this: I'm as I've gotten older, though, I won't, if it's not a movie that I'm watching for a purpose or that has high praise, I am not beyond just shutting a movie off. Like I remember I rented London Has Fallen. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I literally rented it on like whatever, on demand DVR, paid like $3.99 for it. I watched it for like 20 minutes. I'm like, this is awful. I'm turning it off. I don't want to give another 90 minutes of my life to this movie. But though possibly,
which is weird because it has Morgan Freeman in it, and you would think it'd be
good. Yeah, you would think, but it is. Right? I mean, I understand like it. Movies trying to take you to kind of an imaginary place and on a journey, but it is just like, even compared to say like a Die Hard or a Speed, it seems like this seems impossible to occur. These set of circumstances that lead to all these attacks and explosions. Even like on the scale of like 1 to Die Hard, it's like a 15. Like this, there's no way this is really happening.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it was big on that whole like Gerard Butler, just trying to take advantage of him. Because I think what was Law Abiding Citizen had like just come out a couple years ago. So London Has Fallen came out in 2016. They had done the White House Has Fallen or something like that too. So this was like the second one.
Olympus was fall. Yeah.
Oh yes, that. Yeah. So this was, first off, it's 99 minutes long. So it's just a fucking cash cow for somebody, right? That's the way I see it. It also has Aaron Eckhart, who played Harvey Dent in the Batman trilogy. So he, another little kind of trying to take advantage of people falling in love with him. Morgan Freeman just being a voice again. Like, yeah, it's a total fucking, just plug for money, in my opinion. But,
well, Dave, we appreciate you being on the show today for the movies.
Thanks. Welcome to IMDb.
The movie episode.
We hear you quit your DJ career to be an actor now, so that's actually why you're here. You're announcing your acting career in LA.
Yeah, this is it. Big announcement.
I actually was an extra in a network TV aired show.
Really? Which one?
Yes. It was called. It was about the Olympic bomber. I believe it aired on NBC, and it was not Mindhunter, but it was something Hunter. I think.
Wait, like the Olympic bomber for like
from Atlanta? Yeah, it was a dramatization of it, and I believe it was like a series. Like I believe it was like a 6 or 8 part series. Let me look this up here real quick. Manhunt. Yes, it was called Manhunt Deadly Games, and it was about Richard Jewell, the Olympic bomber. And there was a scene, a dramatized scene, with, I believe it was like the newspaper reporter that was like writing a lot of the articles on him, and she was in a nightclub. And that scene was filmed in Pittsburgh, and I was a DJ. Of course, I was a DJ in the scene, and I'm just in the background. But there is a moment, where you can kind of see me in the background. So I do have an acting. I don't think I have an IMDb page yet. But
I'm literally looking for you on IMDb right now. So as a working actor, how does it feel, as a movie critic, how does it feel to act as a DJ? What's that like? Like, what's it like pretending to be?
Yeah, it's like super awkward, It's so the music that is being pumped in, like literally the music that's being pumped in to the club so they're pumping music into this scene so that the crowd will be dancing, so that they're appearing to dance in the background. So sure. I'm like pretending to play records, but what I have on the turntables isn't even actually playing. And then when you watch it on TV, there's a third song. They didn't even use the background music that they were playing that the people were dancing to. They used a completely different song in the background when it airs on TV. So it was pretty crazy. But it was supposed to occur in the 90s. So they they gave me like carpenter jeans, and I had like a tank top on, like with gold chains. Like I went through wardrobe and was all 90s to out.
Had one of those string bracelets, right? That everybody got when they went, to the Caribbean.
Dave was like up on stage, like playing Return of the Mac, just jamming
spiked
out.
Hair or something.
Little frosted tips, maybe? Little frosted tips back in the day?
I had frosted tips then, but I don't have any tips now. The tips are long gone.
Oh man, you are a beautiful bald man, though.
That's 2 TV celebrities we've had on the show. DJ Caitlyn was in the movie. What was the movie, Kevin? Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. With Ariana Grande.
The one with Ariana Grande, The Sky Is Falling or whatever.
Yeah. Kevin, have you been in any movies?
Kevin Nichols. Do you guys know Kevin Nichols?
Yeah.
He was in that. I believe it was Kevin was in that the second Borat, the one where there were all those scenes that were like recreated. Like not recreated, but they were like some of the people involved didn't know it was like happening. He was the DJ in that super. It was like an awkward. There was like some sort of party. I think it was like at a college or at a country club. But yeah, he was like the DJ in that movie.
Dang. DJ Demand was in a rap video. So I mean,
was he? What was DJ?
Yeah,
what
was.
Video?
God, I wish he was some music hip hop video, and you see him for like he sent it to me or showed me or something. And it's just like this split second, like there's DJ Demand scratching, and then
he looks very out of place. I will say, Demand looks entirely out of place.
Why was he out of place, Kevin? What would make him out of place?
Because it was in Camden, and Demand wears glasses. I don't know. What do you want me to say here? Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, yeah, no, Demand's my boy, but I could see how he could look out of place in a rap video. I could understand that. But
we're not, saying anything about his skills as a DJ because we know the man's got some chops. Right?
To be fair, Scientist is Yin Yang Twins DJ, and he's the nerdiest looking little white dude ever, and he tears it up, and he's loved by all at their concerts. Yeah,
so DJ DeVille is in the video for Afrojack's "No Beef," which was recorded at XS in Las Vegas. And that's the one where right before the drop, allegedly it says something different, but it sounds like it says "effed up camel" right before the beat drop.
My God, dude, you're just a wealth of knowledge. It's insane.
Useless knowledge. Might I point out that it's useless knowledge?
Yeah, apparently not.
It's like
it's coming up,
It's like the DJ Encyclopedia has joined us today for the show.
So now listen, Dave, do you get called like a jack of all trades a lot? Have you heard there's this saying like a jack of all trades is a master of none, which a lot of people like throw around a lot to say.
I know that. I'm well aware of that phrase. I would like to think that I'm more closer to the master side than the jack side of most of my trades. But. Yeah,
I think that's true. But so now that I'm getting to the intro of this, so a resident DJ at Foxtail, napkin thrower at Flats on Carson. What an awesome freaking title you have for yourself. In-game DJ music programming, football, men's basketball at University of Pittsburgh. You were a featured artist at Club Killers, a resident DJ at Cavo in Pittsburgh, a resident DJ at Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh. In-game DJ and music programmer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you've worked at 12 Whiskey Barbecue, which now has ended, and you worked at Cruise Bar. Like, you have a 7-page resume, man. That's incredible.
Can we go back to the napkin throwing? Like, is it tough to get hired on for that, or like, how's it work there, Dave?
It is so. I will tell you with the napkin throwing, it can be tricky. It's all in the wrist. It's all you have to give it. I have seen
flick
people
it a wrist.
Their first time throwing napkins, and like the entire clump just goes out as a clump and doesn't have the nice like confetti flutter to it. So there is definitely a science to the napkin throwing. And if you want to have any idea of what the hell we're talking about, check out my Instagram story on a Monday morning.
Yes.
To my knowledge, I don't think they allow that here. They won't let you throw napkins. They'll actually throw you out, I think, in clubs. Because I think it's just because, like, at the end of the night, they're so lazy and they don't want to sweep them up. It's not has nothing to do with the environment.
This is actually the staff that does it.
Okay.
Sometimes an occasional customer will pick up a wad of napkins, but it's mainly the staff. But it's so funny. I've taken pictures of it before. If you go in the basement where like there's storage areas, they have boxes of cocktail napkins stacked like 8 feet high, like taller than your head.
Jesus. Well, you need stock in it for sure to be ready for that. And you do that during Dreams and Nightmares, right?
That's the main song that it's known for. But there's a few other ones like, Trap Queen sometime, like any song that has kind of a, even if it's like a hip hop song that has kind of like a quote unquote drop where there's like, Trap Queen, like the whole first verse is kind of like there's that little synth, but there's not a beat. And then like the first chorus, like the beat drops in and the napkins go up, and
I never let go.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, right when that hits. Sweet. That's crazy, man.
Do
So you
I have
sometimes do this multiple times a night.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then the floor at the end of the night, the floor is covered with napkins. The sidewalk in front of the club's covered with napkins. Sometimes there'll be one stuck to my shoe, and it'll end up like it'll be Tuesday, and I'll look down at my car floor mat, and there'll be like cocktail napkins from Flats on Sunday still on my car floor mat.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I mean, the whole staff has Monday off. It's industry night on a Monday night, so it's not like they're going in that next day. So, you got to stay, you got to sweep a little bit. You could probably just light the floor on fire and everything would just, just go away.
They need that. Have you ever worked in a club or bar at the end of the night where they get a leaf blower out and they just blow like
I've never seen that.
Like I think they do. I think they might do it. I've had it happen in Pittsburgh. I think they might do it at Alex Neppa's spot in the basement in State College. But I
don't think I've ever stayed there long enough to see that.
So you got to have plastic cups. Obviously it's got to be a place that has plastic cups. But if you have plastic cups and napkins, you just blow it, get the leaf blower out, blow it all in the corner. I actually worked at a place back in the day where leaf blowers were only gas, and they would use a gas leaf blower inside. Nowadays, obviously, you have the electric one, so you can do it without the fumes. But
just imagine the guy's got to go and landscape in the morning, but he's got this, Sunday night gig that he's just bringing in. He's got his, his ear protection on, just going in there with sunglasses.
And then you blow into the corner, you get like a snow shovel, in a big garbage bucket, shovel it all in.
You got a guy with a little rake to just help out, on the side. Some guy's got a little weed whacker that's just trimming the stuff out of the, out of the edges.
Can you imagine though the first guy like
work smarter, not harder.
Work smarter,
not harder.
Can you
imagine though like when that happened for the first time, like napkins everywhere, cups everywhere, it was a great night, and then they look down, they're like, fuck, man, we got to sweep all this. And one guy in the back, big redneck dude, just lives in the woods in the middle of nowhere. He's like, I got me an idea. And he could, goes to the truck, grabs his machine. And then from there, that's where it took off. That one dude just that no one talks to came in, grabbed his leaf blower, cranked it a couple of times and just like blew everything in the floor.
I will say the napkins, I think, because they're larger, are still easier to sweep up than confetti. Confetti is... I used to play at a venue. I played at a venue where they had confetti machines, and we were supposed to use them, and security would come at the beginning of the night, and they would beg me. They'd be like, please don't use the confetti tonight. I'm like, I'm supposed to use the confetti. Which, by the way, side note, DJs, if you do use confetti, if you have confetti cannons, which I do, and I don't use them often, but you end up coming out with them a few events a year. Do not ever take them into a venue without making sure your client has checked with the venue, because that can get ugly real quick.
Very quick.
So originally I always used to make sure that my client checked with the venue. And now after an incident where a client told me they checked with the venue and apparently didn't, I now check with the venue myself to make sure the client checked with the venue.
Yeah.
And the worst part, it was a venue. It was a rehearsal dinner. It was like a baller rehearsal dinner. They had a DJ, they had lighting, they had confetti, and it was a venue, Hotel Monaco in Pittsburgh. It's a Kimpton hotel. I worked there a lot, and so I know the staff there. And I just mentioned it to them. I'm like, they told you we're using confetti, right? And the staff was like, the banquet manager was like, no, they never told me that. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I said, I don't know if you want to go talk to them, how you want to hash this out. I'm like, they contracted me for it. They paid extra for the confetti. I said, I don't want to screw you guys over. And they were just like, you know what, let them do it. They were spending wedding money for a rehearsal dinner. I think the venue was just like, we'll clean it up. But I felt bad. And I worked there a lot. And it was funny. I was literally walking out at the end of the night. I was completely packed up, and there were pieces of confetti on the floor in the lobby. This is this really nice lobby, and I was on the tile floor, and I'm literally by hand picking up random pieces of confetti just out of guilt and not wanting to, feeling bad because I work at this venue all the time, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Dave's bending over every time he picks one up. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
And he's like, give me 1 second, and he goes and grabs a rake out of his car, and he's just starts sweeping it up.
And when there's like a memo that goes among the whole staff that like the asshole DJ from Friday night shot confetti everywhere.
So you suggest to DJs that they first at least check in with everybody if the venue comes back and say you've already contracted this stuff. Do you have like a replacement for your confetti? Like, do you use like club cannons, the ground club cannons, or anything like that? Do you have a substitute for it?
Not at the moment. I will say the coolest thing. Well, yes, I do actually. Cocktail napkins.
There you go.
But
yeah,
I would say the closest thing I ever came to confetti that I thought was cool. I saw it in actually originally I think I saw it at the bank in Las Vegas, and I bought some for a club that I managed after that in Pittsburgh. But is a snow machine because a snow machine kind of gives the effect of confetti, but then like the snow just dissipates and there's nothing to clean up. You know, maybe a little residue on the floor, maybe you need to mop it, but you know, it's not the same level of mess as confetti.
Yeah. I don't think it's any worse than like the, you know, Dancing on the Clouds type stuff, the whatever, low line fog. You know, that creates a little more residue, in my opinion, than the snow stuff. Honestly, the snow stuff is literally suds, just odorless. Yeah. And, you know, but then you got to bring like a stick of truss normally to get it high enough or whatever.
Right. It's got to be right. It's got to be shot from kind of up in the air.
Sure. But man, the effect you get with those, especially if you coordinate with a photographer and videographer ahead of time, like, to, you know, like, hey, listen, this is going to be happening during the first dance and then we'll do it again at some point. You know, you mount a fan or whatever so it gets even further out there. I love that effect. That's fun and definitely, unfortunately, underutilized because, you know, just the time of year stuff. Who wants to see fake snow in July, you know?
Yeah. So this is, speaking of coordinating that stuff with the photographer, this is a not so fun story from my summer this year. We had a wedding, was doing a wedding, and brought in confetti cannons, and we had extra lighting at this wedding, and we were kind of going to do the first confetti shot, which was going to be during open dancing, and we had the photographer ready and, you know, videographer ready there on the other side of the floor. I forget what I was playing. Maybe it was like Papos or something, and literally press the confetti button. Confetti shoots for about a second, and then the confetti trips the breaker at the venue, and everything shuts off. The confetti, the lights, the music, everything goes down. And I'm like, can I just like crawl into a hole right now? And we got everything back running, and you know, it was fine, but and it was a fun night. But yeah, that was one of those. I was like, press the button, everything was fine, and then press the button, and just the confetti machines. Everything else could handle, that breaker could handle the power of that circuit for everything else, and not everything with the confetti.
That's like a horror movie. That's like a horror movie.
Pieces of paper. Launching little pieces of paper kills. Nope, can't do it. Can't,
but that's like a horror movie because it's like, not going back to the movies, but like, you know, the confetti gun shoots, the electricity goes off, and all people see now is just like confetti falling to them in this dark room where it seems like something ominous is about to happen.
It's nuclear winter.
It's like the orange lights start circling and stuff, you know, like alternating effect. It's all of a sudden a scene from Stranger Things.
So this was another crazy wedding. So there was something else that happened even before we hit this. So they wanted to do cold sparks as well. Now, I do not personally do cold sparks because cold sparks are not cold all the way. Where they're
ignited, got rid of ours.
Where they're ignited, they are hot. I know multiple instances of cold sparks causing fires. Nothing that's burnt down a building, but some stuff that's burnt down floral arrangements. And the other thing with cold sparks is I believe that probably 98% of DJ companies that use cold sparks do not actually have insurance that covers the cold sparks. So
right, because it's separate. It's an additional.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a pyrotechnic.
Yeah. Right. So I'm like, I'm not messing with those. I'm not even subcontracting them. So when they ask about those, I'm like, sorry, you know, not doing it. So
Right.
they subcontracted. Ironically, it was a company that was doing their photo booth in the Cold Sparks. That was like weird. I was like, there's a company that does photo booths in Cold Sparks. Okay, but this company comes in, does the Cold Sparks. For whatever reason, they got them set up about 5 minutes before the dinner space was about to open, and
Oh shit.
and they had set them. I was nervous to begin with because they had set them up really close to the floral arrangements, because they had floral arrangements in front of my setup too. And I said something to both the coordinator and to the girl doing the Cold Sparks, and I'm like, it's on you. This has nothing to do with me. I'm like, I'm just kind of presenting my opinion here of slight nervousness, in case something goes down. Right. So ultimately, nothing happens with the floral arrangements, but they fire the Cold Sparks, again, 5 minutes before they're about to open the ballroom for guests to start walking in. And the Cold Sparks set off the fire alarm.
Oh.
And so now they don't get to use the Cold Sparks because they would set off the fire alarm a second time. And on top of that, we have to kind of delay guests entering into the room because we have to get the fire alarm shut off first.
Yeah.
So that was.
So we had them. I had them for my company, and then I literally bought them. They were being shipped, and then that video came out where the Pyros in another country lit the florals on fire, lit the entire venue on fire. So I saw the video, and I was like, ooh. And then Nick Spinelli, like the day later, posted this video about that video. So now I'm freaking out. I'm like that's where my anxiety goes. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna burn down every fucking venue in Greenville. So we had them for a while, and then the city of Greenville that I live in, they literally said that now we have to have like a pyro license, and we have to pull a permit.
You always needed that stuff.
So well,
that's the
this isn't like Greenville's a little different than probably Pittsburgh or New York City or something, where you can kind of just get by and no one's really going to say anything.
So let me clarify. In the city of Pittsburgh, you're legally, and most places don't observe this, you're legally not allowed to light, if it's a business, votive candles on tables inside. That is technically, and I found this out when I managed a nightclub, you're legally not allowed to light votive candles inside. So definitely not allowed to use those.
Yeah.
So we had a DJ here who took him to a prom. They didn't pay for them. He took him. He set him off. A parent freaked out. Contacted the city of Greenville, the fire marshal. The fire marshal got involved with the venue, and then of course the venue was like, well, the DJs are bringing this. So then we all got emails like, hey, like this is illegal, blah, blah, blah. You need, I actually have the Cold Spark PDF that they sent us. And the legal jargon in it, I was like, nah, bro. Nah, nope. Like,
not worth it.
There was a venue in town that was like, well, we just want to use them outside, and we're outside the city of Greenville, so it didn't apply to them. And I literally was like, fine. I literally sold them to them. Here, you can have them. If you're going to use them outside, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not risking, because I would hear stories of like somebody would pull like the box up and there'd be like a little burnt mark on the carpet underneath it, and I'm just like just even that gets me amped up. It makes me nervous, and I'd rather just like throw a CO2 gun in there if they want it, and they can have fun with that. No one's gonna get.
I was gonna say I had a friend who said he started smelling a bad burning smell the one day when he used them. And he's like, after that day, I mean, he didn't see any evidence like of a floor burnt or anything, but he's like, the rest of his weddings that had them booked, he contacted them all. He's like, hey, can I offer you like a photo booth or something else instead of this?
Yeah.
But I would highly encourage people to not use them, or if you're absolutely going to do it, and I'm sure it's going to be like $5-10 grand a year, but buy the legit insurance that you have to have so that you don't destroy your entire business you work 10, 15, 20 years for over making a couple, 800 extra bucks a gig or whatever you're charging.
That, man.
Yeah, I with you, like we have the salsa booths, so like I was literally just like, hey, we'll just throw this in for the whole night for you instead. And every single couple was like, wait, we get a photo booth for free? Like, heck yeah, well, like that's a no brainer. I think DJs, of course we all see what Jan does, and we all see like what LaForce does, and we all want to be on that level, and that's great. But I also, like what Dave just said, I don't want to ruin my reputation of building a company for 10 years, and then it literally, no pun intended, go up in flames because of something stupid that, and especially like there are some weddings where they would be taken and I'm not on them. My other guys are using them. So, and I'd like to think that we train them well and they're smart, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they do some dumb shit and I have to correct it. So
right. And when I was gonna say, when you're
Right.
$1 million plus company a year, like those companies you mentioned, you can afford to pay for the literal actual insurance you need to use those.
Right.
But
the insurance is not cheap.
There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but so like and then also you're dealing with any other technology, you're dealing with like just obviously constant wear and tear. So God forbid you have one person that just doesn't pack them in right again. You do get you get those smells. God forbid like the timing of stuff doesn't work out. Dave, imagine that wedding where the other people set off the fire alarm. All of a sudden, sprinklers go off and it lands on all your gear.
Right.
Your gear that they aren't responsible for. There goes the entire wedding, So I think sort of if there is a lesson in all of this is, weigh your options and I guess weigh other people's options too. What photo booth company's going to have the wherewithal to think about the insurance, that part of it, They're
Right.
just looking to make money.
And I posted this one day on Facebook, I think, and literally have people arguing with me like, well, it's not financially feasible to pay for the real insurance. I'm like, well, then everybody should be charging more. That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
Like people are literally arguing with me, and I'm like, fine, risk your business. I'm offering this advice to try to help. I'm not. But everybody gets offended by everything nowadays. So
I think they're more trying to convince themselves that what they're doing is right. It's not as much an argument with you. It's more like they just have trouble looking in the mirror and being like, this thing, because sparklers, if you get 6 of them, I think it's like $20,000, to buy, maybe it's way less than that. I don't know, but I know it's, there's all
brands.
original legit
Yeah,
ones.
Right. Yeah. There's
right. And now there's a couple, dude, now you can buy sparklers at Walmart. You can buy the cold spark fountains. I literally saw them advertised on Walmart.
Walmart. Yeah, I've seen those too. Walmart, when Walmart.com starts promoting them, I don't know.
But now you can buy. I think you can buy like a 4-pack for $2,000, $2,500 of the not Walmart version, but not the official Sparkular version.
Right.
I know there's some companies that can't remember the name of the one. There's a company or two that usually is a DJ Expo in an AC with them.
Yeah. Which you weren't at this year.
I was not. I was at Steelers rehearsals that week.
Nice. Oh my God. Amazing segue. Bro, so it's weird because the Road Podcast actually just had CO1 on, who is the Las Vegas Raiders DJ. So I was actually listening to that and I was like, this is perfect. This is like me doing research to ask Dave questions. As the Pittsburgh Steelers in-stadium DJ, that's first off super cool. If you are listening to this and you don't follow Dave, so I think specifically on Facebook is where you do a lot of your sharing as well as Instagram. Dude, the tweets that you get, people talking about you in the stadium, playing the right song at the right time. I'm so interested in that, and obviously you working with a couple other teams and stuff too. So just tell us a little bit about that whole experience.
Yeah. So one thing that's interesting in stadium DJing is a big difference between when you're playing during a game and when we're playing events, weddings, nightclubs, whatever, is that we're normally in control. We are setting the vibe of a nightclub, of a wedding, of the music, of the peaks, of the valleys, of the emotions. And in a stadium, in a game or an arena, we're responding. We're actually not creating the vibe. We're responding to the vibe. So whenever, you're scoring, whenever you're being scored on, you have to kind of be mentally aware of what's going on. We had a moment the other day at the Steelers game where, a lot of times during commercials, when they go to TV commercials, we have inventory and we're showing, we have a ceremony on the field or showing a video or something like that. But usually in the fourth quarter, that stuff's all done. So we had a moment the other day where Patriots scored on us and the network's like, we're going to commercial for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And all we have to do is play filler music and show fans. But in that moment, it's like we were just scored on. It's a what do you play kind of moment. And I think I want to say I played, I believe, in a thing called Love by The Darkness in that moment there. But that's one of those moments where it's like, you don't want to play something that's like too mellow or somber because you don't want to kind of further bring down the vibe or kind of suck the life out of the stadium. But at the same time, you can't play something like Can't Stop the Feeling or Icona Pop or Shut Up and Dance. Like, you don't want to play something that's like really happy because you just got scored on. And, you can't do that either. So, there's a lot of nuance in it that I think a lot of DJs, people that don't do it, don't get. And there's a lot of nuance. And the other thing with football is, there's so many things that can happen so quickly. So we don't find out until usually, seconds, if not a minute or two at best, before the network's going to go to a commercial break. So say it is a third down and, sometimes we'll get a call up in our booth and they'll say, if they don't make this third down and they punt, we're going to go to commercial. So I remember the first season I'm working, that happens, and it's going to be a punt and then a commercial break afterwards. And we had some sort of on-field presentation, and I have like this background music, and I'm getting ready to play that background music for the on-field presentation. All of a sudden, the punt gets blocked and like returned for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, you have to be paying attention and ready for that to possibly happen and be in this all of a sudden like, oh shit moment, like this isn't happening, now that's happening. Right. So you always, especially more than really, I feel like any other sport. I mean, I'm an avid hockey fan. I've never done anything in game with the Penguins, but I am an avid hockey fan. I've also done basketball for 7 seasons with University of Pittsburgh. And I definitely feel that football is the game that can kind of, kind of turn on a dime at any moment. And one team, you can get a pick six. You can. It's really, you have to expect the unexpected kind of more than anything in football.
Absolutely.
It's interesting you talk about the stop sets or the commercial breaks, because with my radio background, our stop sets are always the same. The 15, the 45, it was the bow tie. So they're always there. So I never even thought, like when I watch TV or watch sports or watch football or baseball, I didn't even know that kind of all goes out the window, and someone's basically like in your ear going, all right, well, if this happens, we're doing this. And I just always thought it was all on a clock. I always thought when you were in the booth, you kind of do you have certain stop sets that you have to break in? Do you know where they are?
Okay. So in basketball, and this is the same in hockey, in basketball and hockey, they are done after the first whistle after a certain point. So in college basketball, 2 20-minute halves. After the first 16-minute whistle, the first whistle after 16 minutes, there's a break. The first whistle after 12 minutes, there's a break, and then 8 and then 4. Right. So we too, basically do kind of know when they're happening in basketball. I know that NHL is the same. I forget. I mean, like I said, I've never done a game, but if you watch, you can notice, I don't know, it's 14 minutes, 7 minutes, and 4 minutes or something like that. So NHL is the same. Baseball, there's probably some, sort of formula with obviously it's between innings.
Baseball's a little more predictable though.
Yeah.
Because it's a very stop and go game.
Right. So that's the thing with the reason that football can't really be as predictable is because they don't want to stop a team in the middle of a drive.
No.
Right.
So it's typically either after a punt or after a score. I mean, those are the two most common times. Now, once in a while, if the network gets really behind, because they're trying to take, the plan is they're going to take 4 breaks per quarter is what is normal. So if the network gets really behind, like sometimes there will be long drives and they won't get to, only take 3 breaks in the first quarter, and they're trying to make up breaks. Sometimes they'll take them during, say, a timeout. Like when offense defense just calls a timeout, and normally it's 30 seconds, and the network will say, hey, we want to go to commercials, and then it just becomes 2.5 minutes. But they never want to unnecessarily break up the action. Obviously, sometimes with an injury, especially if it's an extended, injury where the player's on the field, like, they'll go to break. But with football, it is because they want it to be momentum based. It's very fluid. And so what'll happen, I mean, this is kind of the craziness of the way the message travels. There's a truck outside the stadium that is, producing the game, where all the kind of the production room for the network. So the network, from their production truck, their director or producer will call this guy on the sidelines, and this guy on the sidelines is standing next to a guy that we have posted on the sidelines. So he'll tell that guy, hey, we're going to do a commercial here. And then the guy that we have posted on the sideline calls up to our booth. So it's like the message is like delivered 4 times before it gets to us. But that guy on the sidelines, if you go to a game ever, it's usually on the home team side, and he has, I think, a red hat on, and he's always wearing a big orange glove. Like it almost looks like a industrial rubber glove. And he walks out onto the field when there's a commercial break. He will literally walk out onto the field, and he stands there on the field until the commercial break's over. And that's how the referees know that the commercial break's still going on, ball can't be in play. And then the guy walks off the field, and he makes this circular motion with his arm if they're not going to go to break. So say there's a punt or something like that, and they don't want to take a commercial break, then
So the refs are looking at him.
Yes, the refs are looking at him to see whether they're going to break or not. We did have a game, I think it was once last year. I can't remember if it was NFL or college, but I think it was a Steelers game. And the refs they were kind of asleep at the wheel, and they almost put the ball back in play before they were back from commercials. And he actually literally went running across the field. And he didn't get to the refs. I think they saw him, but he started running toward, to try to stop them. And I don't know if
I guess the orange glove and the red hat probably are like the alerts.
That wasn't enough.
Hey,
wasn't enough.
Something's happening. Something's going on.
Just give the guy a sparkular and have him shoot it off.
College
Shoot it off in
football
the air.
2 years ago, this was cool. Just 2 or 3 years ago, they added a clock. And so the college football guy actually has a clock that counts down how much time we have left in the break. So we can actually see exactly. But internally, like say for the Steelers, all of our producer, our director, they start a stopwatch as soon as the break starts. So we know if we're trying to do X number of things, we can't be in the middle of a presentation or a video when they come back to go back into play. So our producer and director are running a stopwatch, so they know, this is when we have to finish everything we're doing and go back to play.
We had a sports talk in the building I worked in, but it's radio. So like when you guys go to break for your nationals, they're going to break for all their local spots.
Right.
So it has to be timed kind of the same way. But let's say the game ends at, 9:40. You then have 20 minutes that you have to backtrack to get to that top of the hour for the next show. So that's the bitch of it is like, NBC's like, all right, guys, see you later. And then they do whatever they need to do for their post game. But like, we're not going to air that. So like syndication, trying to go from TV to radio is tough because there is that kind of, there is a huge difference in there where you're because you have to air NBC or whoever the affiliate is, you have to air whatever certain amount of commercials that they have at the top, and then they allot you X amount of time at the bottom for your local commercials.
Right, yeah.
And so there's a lot going on in that sense, but I had absolutely no idea what the little man on the field, well, not little, but I mean like right. Like the dude with the hat. Like that's insane. Of all the years, like I used to watch football with my dad and like stuff, like I'd never dawned on me. Like you see so many people down there on the sidelines.
Yeah, they're
Dave,
always,
they're
usually around maybe the 20 or 30 on the home team sideline.
Okay. What like other things? So like is there a network guy like over your shoulder, arms crossed, like play this song, or like do you have some creative liberties now? As,
There's
with
nothing,
your experience.
the only thing that we're playing that you could possibly hear on the network is like from their ambient mics in the stadium.
Right.
But I mean, like the music that you like, the brief little bits of music when they're going to commercial and coming back from commercial. I mean, those they're playing. I mean, what we're doing has nothing to do with anything that is aired on TV. But like I said, there are definitely moments because they do have ambient mics around the stadium to pick up crowd noise where you definitely can hear, the music in the background. But the only thing that we ever have directly with the network where they're just like, they're, literally in direct communication with us is sometimes for like Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, they will cue us when to start the anthem because they'll have some either a commercial package or some video highlight package that they're running while we're running the national anthem. And so there are times where we will get, my boss, who's producing the game, will have a radio on him, and the network will say at this, like we'll just sometimes be unfortunately awkwardly sitting there for a few extra seconds, but they will say, okay, start the anthem now. And then our PA announcer, the anthem singer, they're just on the field waiting, but our PA announcer will introduce, now please rise and remove your hats for the national anthem, whatever he says. And then that's the cue to the anthem singer to start. So that's the only really direct contact we ever have with the network or anything they care about is occasionally, but that's for day games only.
Hey, what's up, Hi Radio fam? It's DJ Hi Kevin here. Just wanted to give a quick actual look at gamer-fuel.com with you since I'm going to be placing a new order in just a couple minutes here. So you can check out their homepage. You can see gamer-fuel.com. We have first off featured their honeydew watermelon flavor, which is actually coming 2 sample packs in our giveaway that'll be at the end of this month. Really excited to give that away. But they have so much to offer, whether it's energy and focus, which is actually my favorite product, the big brain focus and reactions. If you want to grab one of their little home gyms, if you want to get coffee products, you want to get pre-workouts. So there's 2 things. There's pre-workouts and they got the Gamer Fuel, which is a little more focus for your gaming needs. Something I'm not good at. But then proteins as well. They have subscription boxes. If you are a gamer, you can actually get sponsored. We're trying to build a team right now. You can also check out all of our other missions and athletes on the page right here so you can learn a little bit more about Jordan and a little bit of the rest of us. So definitely check out the website and make sure you use code DJ Hi Kevin at checkout to get an extra 10% off. Thanks, guys. So we bring it back. Dave covering making sure that there isn't a family emergency. Super cool of you. I feel like we always get into like really deep DJ talk. You obviously have an amazing, beautiful family. Didn't you and your wife just celebrate an anniversary recently?
Yeah. I mean, we do that once a year.
Right. Thanks, Dave.
Bro.
Thank you for the sound effect.
Fucking kill myself.
But no, we celebrated our 17th anniversary on August the 6th.
Oh, see, so I'm not that far off. I definitely saw it somewhere. And actually, your birthday's in 2 days as well.
It is not? This Friday is my birthday. Yes.
Happy early birthday, man. Good for you. Yes. You're turning. Everybody knows already. I'm 18.
I'm turning 40 ancient this year.
40 ancient. Okay, so yes. He's 73 years my senior. Everyone. Yes. Very, very exciting for him. That's what's up, man. I
was DJing when Biggie was still alive. So and Tupac. So
it's so funny.
That's how old I am.
I know like old radio people that have like Biggie drops. They're like, yo, what up? This is Biggie, and you're listening to Murph Dog. I'm like, how? What? Like, I was like 8, like when Biggie died. Like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Wait, so what does a DJ do for his birthday? Because usually people for their birthday go out to the club and they party and they get hard, you know, all that stuff. Like, what does Dave do? Like, does he just...
Dave's DJing.
Are you DJing for your birthday?
Yeah. It's my birthday's on a Friday. Of course I'm DJing for my birthday.
Well,
Although my wife is coming out with me, which she does not anymore, you know, often come out to the club with me. So she is coming out, and we are going to dinner beforehand. And I did make sure to, like, you know, schedule like my favorite, you know, club spot for the night, so that, you know, I was in a space that I was going to enjoy myself.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. So
That's
Dave's
exciting.
going to be DJing.
Do a lot of people come out and like wish you happy birthday and like take care of the DJ type of thing on that night, or do you still get Bad Bunny forehead requests?
Well, I mean, they don't really let people get to me, period. So
Nice.
People don't, you know, I can get Bad Bunny forehead requests from a distance, but at least not up close.
Right.
I told a guy the other week, I said, he actually came up with the Bad Bunny phone, and I told him that meme was about 3 weeks old and to stop it.
It's like 3 months old.
I mean, I think, you know, here's the thing with it. I think this is beyond, like, I think half the people that are doing this, you know, want to hear Bad Bunny, and I think half of them are like, this is something funny I saw on TikTok or something. Let's put Bad Bunny on my
literally
phone and
doing
show
it for the meme.
You know, because I think I could probably ask them, well, what Bad Bunny song do you want?
Exactly.
I don't know. Tape us. You know?
Here's the thing.
Like,
It must be a Northeast thing, because, I mean, nobody down here does that to me. Nobody. I have not gotten one iPhone Bad Bunny request on Snapchat or however they're doing it. Like, not one. I've not seen one. I saw one girl, Arlie, Kevin, who works for Justin Reed. He posted this photo like earlier this year on Facebook of a girl, and she, of course, like, she put the wobble, like, question mark, and like, she was just the most beautiful woman in the world. And I was like, I hate line dances, but for her, I'd play the wobble in a heartbeat. Like, and I asked her, I was like, did you play it? He goes, nah, I never did. He's like, I just took a photo of her and then I kept it pushing. So, like, I mean, but I agree with you. I think that if you, Dave, when that happens at the club, you should pull your phone out and type out, without looking, name 3 Bad Bunny songs, and that should be on your phone.
That's a bit much. That's a lot to write. I would use this one.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta poop first.
So, you know, I mean, yeah, I don't even know where to go with that. Well, I definitely in Florida, I can tell you that Bad Bunny, and this has been going on like 3 years now, even, you know, much longer than the recent incarnation. I mean, maybe even more than 3 years. I mean, Bad Bunny has pretty much been like the biggest artist in Florida. I mean, selling out like, you know, 20,000 seat arenas. And so, I mean, in Florida, I don't know if it's with the phone or not, but I can tell you, you know, from playing down there, that he definitely gets requested plenty and played plenty in Florida. So, but I actually got a request the other day at a wedding for Barbie Girl by Aqua.
Oh.
And I actually said to the girl, I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I have that song. There's no way in hell I'm playing it. So I'm not going to pretend I don't have it. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to play it, not play it. No, I'm being upfront with that one. That one's not happening.
Dave looks at her and goes, next. Nope.
No.
Actually, one of my favorite moments ever, this happened in the past year, was I think it was at an event, a private event. And there was a girl, I don't have a good poker face, and there was a girl walking up to me at an event, and I like looked up and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she's just like, yeah, it's a lost cause, and just turned around and walked away. Like, didn't even, like, knew whatever she was going to ask for, the answer was not going to be yes. Just saw the look on my face,
and walked off.
That's a powerful skill to have, Dave.
Clearly.
That's amazing.
Would you like me to tell you how I really feel about request?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Please tell us.
Yes, beyond.
But my issue, and this is what people don't get. And I get DJs that are just like, why don't you play? You should play request. And it's funny because there have been some great songs over the years that I've come up with that have been like a request, and then it works really well, and I'm like, let me try that again, and then try it again. But the issue is, and this is not just a recent thing, this has been going on for maybe 5-10 years, is that the issue with the request now is that people just, there's other questions. There's, well, when are you going to play it? Or are you going to play it now? Or if I say I try, I'm going to, or if I say I'm going to try to play it, like I'll get a shitty reaction. Like, and I just said I'd try, like what, but if the answer isn't 100% yes, it's a shitty reaction. And so my issue's never been the request. It's all the other BS that comes with and around the request. And if I could, whenever I have venues where like I have a light tech or something and they can just take the request and write them down for me, I love that. I'm just like, I will happily look at a list of songs. Like I'm not mad at the input. It's that additional, grief you get about, well, when are you going to play it? Or are you going to play it next? Or if you said, I've had people ask for the shit I've never even heard of, and then they give me grief because I don't have, well, you're a shitty DJ,
My favorite when I was DJing the clubs was like, can you hurry up and play it? I'm about to leave. And so I look at them and be like, so wait, after the song you're gonna leave? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, then I'll get around to it. Like, I'm like, then I'm not gonna play it next, like, because you're already leaving. You're not spending the money at the bar anymore. What good are you? The entitlement of some, not all, just some patrons.
Yeah.
Kind of irks me.
I think there might be a little confusion. You bring up the word entitlement, which is, I think that because they paid a $5 cover to get in to whatever bar they're in, they literally feel like they are entitled to treating you like a jukebox, which I think is a big problem too, is that people are so willing to treat a working person that actually is in a creative space. It's one thing to like yell at your waiter if they didn't bring you a water right away or something like that. Like, oh, well, yeah, let's just start off with waters and then you can grab our other drinks later, and then they never bring you the waters. Right. You're entitled to ask for water. Right? But, we are not required.
Or if you're in Philly or Jersey, you're entitled to ask for water.
Water, yeah, yes, exactly. God damn, see, this is dad jokes just sprinkled in throughout this entire thing.
Here's the thing is that, like, I look at what, like when Kevin goes and DJs the basement, or when you're DJing at your club, like, each club kind of has, like, what you're going to walk into, like the room pop or hip hop or whatever, right? Or if you go to another club and they're playing Hispanic music or all Hispanic music, like, that those are like the rooms you're going into and the music you're going to listen to. And so you're performing at your club. And I don't understand how people, when they walk into a club, like, you would never walk into like a concert, right? Like The Weeknd's playing, and you have front row tickets, and you're like knocking on the stage, like, hey, can you play this song next? Like, no, he has a set list for a reason. He's singing those songs in order for a reason, and he's got this kind of mapped out in his head. And maybe he'll go off and like not play, and you do the song next or whatever. But for what you do at a club, I think it's the same thing. Like, just shut up, enjoy your drink, and have fun with your music, and we'll get to it.
It reminds me, Step Brothers, right? At the end, is that what it was? Yeah, where they're on the
cantina,
the fucking Catalina wine mixer, right? Mixer. The guy says they're like a post 80s Billy Joel cover band or something like that, and they're like yelling at him, and he's like, "No, sorry, sir, we're strictly this Billy style band," and then they end up like fighting over it. Like, that's. Like, that's the only instance in the world where anyone has, like, gone up to a live band and told them what to play
in a fake movie.
Yeah, in a film. Exactly.
Right. That's another movie I made it through, and I love Will Ferrell and I love John C. Reilly, but I did not think that movie was funny.
Really?
But I made it through. I did not think Step Brothers is funny.
Wow, I actually kind of liked it. I was a huge fan of it.
I've literally watched that movie 3 times in one day.
What?
I don't know. I used to smoke a lot of weed in college, and we just had a house, and it was on TV, and we were sitting around all day. You know, it's like a hangover day, and you start watching it like halfway through, right? And then you get to the beginning of it, and then you're laughing through the whole movie, and then it's on again. So you're just like, well, we can't find the remote, and no one's willing to admit that it's under them. So I guess this is what we're watching all day.
Yeah. I think the only 2 movies I've ever watched 3 times in one day are A Christmas Story, because we just left the TV on that channel on Christmas. And definitely Wall-E, because when my son was like 4 years old, Wall-E was his absolute favorite movie in the world. And so what we would do in like the summertime, or even before we started school, is in the morning we would wake up and we would watch Wall-E. And then we would take our like midday nap and we would watch Wall-E. And then we would sometimes take an afternoon nap and eat dinner. And then after dinner, we would watch Wall-E. And that was what we did, like 3 times a day. I have absolutely, Wall-E is the movie I've seen more than any movie in history. And I don't think anything will ever top it. The Shawshank Redemption is probably second, but it is a far distant second.
And that's not a movie you're going to watch with your son. Like, or any kids, you're not going to watch The Shawshank Redemption with your kids, right?
I probably at 14. I think at this age, I think he'd like the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, I'm talking about like when they're first young, like when they're young. Let's sit down and watch Shawshank Redemption.
No.
Time to break you into the top 5 movies on IMDb, son. No, Godfather's tomorrow.
I think not with me, with my wife. I think he has watched Godfather.
Yeah.
I believe he has.
That's what's up. That's pretty cool. So I feel like at his age, you said he was 14, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like at that age, either you are the person that has seen the movies you're not supposed to see and people think you're pretty cool for it, or you're the person that hasn't seen the movies and it's like too late. And, I was very much that kid that like, not sheltered, but it was like, oh, well, if you watch this movie, you're not allowed to tell other kids that you've seen it because it has bad words and stuff in it. Like,
well, I think though now, like, I don't even know at this era if there's even a cool factor to having watched Godfather, in 2022. I don't think there's like other kids are like, ooh, you watch Godfather, like.
Right.
But I do remember that when we were kid, when I was a kid, it was like, if you'd seen, I don't know, Pulp Fiction or like Terminator. I think Terminator 2 was rated R or something. Like certain movies.
So I've asked Joe Bunn this question because he's got kids around your age, or around your kid's age. So your son's 14. Is he in kind of the I might want to be a DJ, or is he wants nothing to do with it?
So I feel like the vibe with him is he does have some interest in it. I could see him doing it through like in high school, college, whatever, as a job, make extra money. I don't know if he has like, and I've worked with him some on it. I don't know if he has like the love for it that he'd do it as like a lifetime, career, but we'll see. I mean, I always had the love for it, but I didn't expect to do it as a lifetime career. And
now here you are
27 years after I started DJing.
Damn, man.
That's so how old are you, Kevin? In real, not 18, but in real.
I'm 31.
Years? Okay,
I'm 31,
so I started DJing when you were 4.
Yeah, when I was watching The Godfather with my parents.
Yeah.
Shooting fake guns around the living room.
That's awesome. Obviously, your resume proves that you've been around the block. Of course, the time that you've put in. And you know what's amazing, Dave, is I've never, ever, ever heard you say, I've been DJing for almost 30 years. Like I personally I had no idea how long you had been DJing. And I tip my cap to you for that, because so many people just ride that wave of I've been DJing for X amount of years, so I'm better than somebody else.
Well, Dave looks 27. So like I didn't think
literally
he had 27 years of experience DJing.
So I'll be honest with you, and I believe Mike Walter and Joe Bunn actually had a talk about this on one of their episode of the PhDJ podcast at one point.
R.I.P.
And Nick Spinelli may have even talked about it as well. there comes a certain point, and to me, I feel like that point is maybe either 15 or 20 years, where then all of a sudden you go from, oh, I've been DJing 18 years, I've been DJing 19 years, I've been DJing 20 years, and then you hit, I've been DJing for over 20 years, because you don't want to, especially in this industry, you don't want to start sounding old. So
Right.
I feel like there hits a point where you're just, instead of like rattling off the specific number of years, you're just like, oh, it's been over 15 years or over 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say 10. It's over 10 years, and just kind of leave it there. Just not even say anything.
Yeah, just leave it there. But, at the same time, like, I've been DJing for just over, I forget if it's 6 or 7 years, like, since I did my first out DJ event. I honestly don't like to talk about it, because I think people are like, oh, you've only been DJing that long. So there is a sweet spot sort of around that like 10-year mark.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like 10 to 20 is the sweet spot where it's like you've been DJing long enough to have experience, but short enough to still kind of have that young mindset. Although it's funny, because even in playing in clubs and stuff, most of the DJs in the city that are 10 years younger than me are playing older music, and I'm going in places and playing Pop Smoke and things like that, and they're playing 10-year-old playing No Hands, and I'm like, that to me has become like a wedding record. So it's interesting, sometimes even some of the younger DJs quote unquote playing it safe or playing older music, and I'm like 42 over here, and I'm playing newer shit than you are, and you should be really into this music because you're 27.
Yeah.
So when,
man.
When did the DJ, just like DJing itself, when did that kind of transition into you wanting to speak about DJing and get on these panels and going to Wedding MBA and going to DJ Expo or whatever and having these conversations with our DJs? Like, why, kind of in a way, why did you want to be I hate the word influencer, but I mean, kind of is what it is. What made you kind of want to also dabble in that world?
Would it be a wrong answer to saying to say cringing when I've heard certain DJ sets or certain things that happen in our industry?
Okay,
I think that's entirely fair. I think you're doing the industry a service.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to make the industry better. I mean, I definitely feel like there's some great things in the industry, and I think there's definitely some DJs that could use some cleaning up around the edges with things, and I think there are some really good DJs that can still improve. And what I've always said, I guess my favorite thing to do educationally, is I've always said I love dealing with or talking with or working with someone that's like a 6 or a 7 and trying to make them like an 8 or a 9 as a DJ. That's I don't want to start with, it's just a personal preference. Like, to me, I don't have the passion or desire to start with someone as much from scratch that knows nothing, but somebody that has like a solid base, and being able to make them, really, really good is kind of where I like to be in that arena. And I think another issue with that, with kind of just talking about that is I think I finally hit a point, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or so, where I was just like, I just felt a as full as ever level of self-confidence in what I was doing, that I felt good enough about the job I was doing that I'm like, I could share every piece of information that anybody knows, that I know with anybody, and I feel like I could still do a better job than them. And I think when you're speaking, especially if you're speaking freely, I feel like you have to have that level of self-confidence, or you're going to want to hold certain things back because you're going to be afraid, oh, if this person gets this piece of information, they might get better than me. So I feel like you have to have, and actually, my boy Koo said something along this lines, a while back, I think on Twitter, from Tampa. But if you are really, when you're going in though, as a DJ talking about self-confidence, you should think that you're doing a really good job in any room you're playing in, whether it's a nightclub or a wedding or whatever, or if not, I mean, you're probably not going to do a good job in there. So, I mean, I think sometimes there's a good balance, and I guess, fence between, arrogance and self-confidence, but self-confidence is extremely important to have as a DJ.
Well, it's also like you can give all the advice in the world. Like you can tell us everything. You could literally pull out a book and be like, here's every single thing I did to become me, right? To become fucking awesome. But like, there's probably 90% of the DJs out there that will like read that and then just never apply it. They also have to apply it themselves. And so it's like, I do look at like a Joe Bunn or a Mike Walter or, Jay and I or whatever, and they're giving us all these ideas on social media and then the DJ collective and that sort of thing. But it's like, what do you like? You can soak up as much as you want, but like, then you gotta put that energy back out into the world yourself to make it happen. I was at a seminar with you in Wedding MBA last year, and I hope it's okay we talk about this. I think you probably know where I'm going with this. You were talking about the music and just different like crates and stuff and different things you had in your music. And I literally sat front row with one of our guys that works for us for the company, and we were taking literally just screenshots. Like I had my camera, my phone. I was just taking, photos of your slideshows because they were so impressive. And you were like, you had music involved in it, and I thought you did a phenomenal job. I always enjoy watching you speak, and watching you on Twitter and that sort of thing. Like you've always kind of, I enjoy that. And yours and Mike Walters were the only ones I went to. I went to Wedding MBA, I went to two of those seminars, and that was it. So you basically told us like, these are pop records and these are the Hispanic records and these are, like you went through this whole worldly, I don't know, like encyclopedia of your music. And then do you kind of remember what happened at the end of that?
I do.
So so for those that weren't there, Kevin wasn't there. Basically at the end, I don't even know if you asked for questions. Maybe this guy just popped up like a gopher. And he said something.
It did. I did not ask for questions. This guy just like, it was like whack-a-mole, like his hands.
He really did. So he pops up out of his seat, and you, as nice as you are, said, well, I'm not taking questions, but sure, go ahead. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't exactly know what he said, but he said something about the fact that, oh, you were showing videos of your dance floor as well. Like you were showing videos of your clubs and of your weddings. And he literally said something to the effect of, there wasn't as much diversity in your videos. Like, why is that? Or something to that effect, where basically, I don't even know why he asked the question. And listen, as a former Jersey kid, like I'd have been off the stage in 2 seconds. You held it together. You kept a smile on your face, like where the rest of us were just like, I was pretty heated. Like, in fact, the guy that was with me like turned around. One of my guys was like, and literally shouted, "What the fuck, bro?" Like, and I had to like calm him down because I didn't want it to be like a WWE wrestling situation. And I don't remember what you exactly said, but you kind of just talked him off the ledge or whatever he was doing. But is that your first time ever having to handle a situation like that? And what were your thoughts after you walked off stage?
I mean that was the first time, I guess, ever having to handle. I don't know if you want to call it a quote unquote heckler or not. The irony of this situation is that, like, when this question is asked, if the question was legit, and I think it was something like, why wasn't there more diversity in your presentation? And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I don't know. I went over hip hop songs. I went over Latin songs. I went over classical songs. I went over country songs. Like,
Kevin, he went over every single genre there was.
Diversity in my presentation,
Right.
and
sounds like the definition of diversity.
If this question is legit, you think everybody in the audience like looks right at me. But everybody in the audience turned and like was giving this guy the death stare. And so I had a friend in the audience who actually came out there as a photographer friend from Pittsburgh, and she was like, I was about ready to shank that guy.
A photographer.
Dude, he was a jerk.
Yeah, no,
people
loser. Were, this is just, and I don't even really know where he was ultimately going with it, but this is just one of those, it's 2022 and everything is offensive to everybody kind of.
Do you know who it was? Do you know them, Dave?
I did not know the dude at the time.
Okay.
I think I briefly like looked him up on Instagram afterwards, but you know, I don't know.
Would I know who it is?
I don't think. I mean, even when I looked him up, I didn't recognize his name as like, you know, someone that, I don't know. I feel like there are certain DJs around the country in different markets, kind of everybody knows, or like
Right.
DJ wise.
You don't know
I was
him,
no
though,
one
yeah.
that, but I think he was from Georgia, I believe, and he wore bow ties. Those are the two things. Like he was like always.
Oh, if that doesn't tell you right there.
Even that day, he was wearing a bow. And I'll tell you an interesting thing. About my whole presentation there, it somehow slipped through the cracks. So I had a Monday night football game that week. And,
That's right. Yes.
And it was against the Bears, and they knew that. And so I told them Tuesday, I said, I am coming in. I said, I'm going to be coming in Tuesday, flying in Tuesday morning. And so they were like, we got you at the 5 o'clock spot on Tuesday. You're the last presentation of the day. And I'm like, perfect. You know, it'll give me enough time to get in, get settled. And Mike Walter was in a different room because I think Mike was in the DJ specific track and I was in like the general track. And Mike said to me, he's like, oh, you know, I was bummed that I won't get to hear you speak. So then I get a text from Mike like a few days before, and he's like, it's so good that they changed the schedule. So now I'm going to get to hear you speak.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
because it wasn't 5 p.m.
I'm like, changed what schedule? So I don't know how this slipped through the cracks. And even when I kind of talked to them about it, I was never given an explanation of how this slipped through the cracks. But somehow they changed my time, but didn't tell me that they changed my time. But it was on like all the public information. So if Mike hadn't told me, I would have been in Vegas and I wouldn't have shown up for my presentation because I didn't know it was changed. So when they changed my time, too, was like 50 minutes after my plane landed.
Yeah, so because I remember when this guy did this whole go for Papa thing, my first thought was like, because you said in your presentation in the beginning, I took a red eye or I took the first flight out of Monday Night Football to get on the plane to get here to be here at this specific time. I didn't know that your times have been changed. You'd never mentioned that on the stage.
So yeah, they bumped it up. Well, yeah, because I mean, I was, I wasn't trying to say anything derogatory or negative about the conference on stage. And I mean, I'm not trying to hear either. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the explanation is. If there was an email sent that somehow didn't go through, but I didn't get a notification. And if there was an email sent or a text sent or something, you should definitely, make sure you get a confirmation from me. Hey, please confirm that you see this text that your time has changed. So anyways, everything kind of occurs. And I get there, and basically Mike was nice enough he scouted out my room where I was going to be. And he literally was waiting at the top of the escalator for me in the Las Vegas Convention Center, walked me to my room, already figured out where it was. I think he even picked up my badge for me. I told them, he went to the desk, got my badge for me and walked me to my room. And I got in the room, I think 10 or 15 minutes before I was supposed to present, straight from the airport. So that's what
pissed me off about the guy.
And then I give the presentation, and then dude comes in at the end with his diversity question, and I think he did. I don't know if he said it in the moment or if he said it to me later, or he might have even DM'd me on social media. But he might have. I think he might have, like you alluded to. He might have referenced that the crowds that I showed in my video were mostly white, and I'm like, well,
it's Pittsburgh.
This is Pittsburgh's literally over 80%. Our population's over 80% white, and I'm like, this is who's booking. I can't control who books me. I've not really played many Latino events. I've played some, but I have played I played a lot of white events. I played a lot of black events. But I definitely, our market is more white, and I get booked for more of those events. But I can't control who books me. These are from the events that have booked me, and this is the crowd that is at those events. I can't change Dave, who's paying me money.
No, yeah. Dave, you have to start saying no to white couples. You can't. You got to say no to them. You have to,
dude. You have no clue how. And I didn't even want to come up to you afterwards because like I just didn't want to bug the shit out of you at that point. You have no clue how there were so many people that walked out. Like Justin Reed and I linked up afterwards. He was in the conference as well. And when he was just like, what the fuck was that? Like, what? Like, he was like, what? Like, and Justin said, he goes, the dude literally gave us a whole pack of like Latin music that some of them that I didn't even think to play. Like, this dude did his homework. And he goes, and then the dude literally flew here after Monday Night Football. Like, what more do you want from the man? Like, what more do you want?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Fuck that guy. I know you probably don't curse. I'm sorry. Fuck that guy.
No, I do curse. But
fucking Eric Massengale. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Eric Massengale. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm teasing.
But I will say this. I was really, I think I was a little, I don't know, relieved isn't the word, but I guess I felt a little better about the situation afterwards when I saw like the mob of people around him after my presentation, because people were giving him grief about it. So I felt better about the fact that I'm like, well, at least people clearly aren't siding with him. They're siding with me on this. So I think that's best sometimes if other third party observers see things your way, kind of letting them stand up for you and just taking a step back from it, and
sure, man.
I don't know, like the dude kind of apologized to me on Instagram, but I think he was just trying to kind of still reframe the question and still ask it, and I just kind of accepted the apology and just
I hate those I'm sorry but like sentences. I'm sorry but ... like dude,
like saying I love you but
like you just
but
like,
you don't.
You fucked up. You said something dumb, which I mean, listen, balls on the kid for standing up in front of a room of 100 people and even asking the question. I have no clue. Maybe he was still drunk from the night before.
Don't get it twisted. I got pictures. There were more than 100 people there.
Okay, 300 people.
Stop trying to reduce the attendance of my seminar.
5,000 people were there.
16 million people.
Entire Vegas population came to see you, and room
people
7C.
Came to the conference. Oh man. Well, Dave, we have been ridiculed for our show going on a little too long recently, and for this we're gonna try and dude, I mean, you obviously have so much. I didn't even go over. I have your press kit. Like, I didn't even get to touch on that. Like, obviously you have done so many things.
We gotta have you back on for sure.
We gotta at some point. We gotta give you some time so you can build up some awesome new fights with people at conferences. Can I tell
one more quick story about Digital Dave and me that Dave probably doesn't even know about?
I suppose so.
So I messaged Dave on Facebook when I got to Vegas, and Justin Reed was like, "Yo, just hit him up, see if if he's in town or whatever." And you were still at the football game. And you just said, you messaged me back and said something like, yo, just let me know where you guys are, see if we can link up and do dinner or lunch or something. And I thought it was pretty cool. And then you like gave me a number, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, whatever. So I text the number, bro. I was like, yo, man, it's Shorty or Sean or how whatever I said to you. And literally I get like the auto response back that was like, thanks for contacting Digital Day or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, like, we're not besties yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Sick.
I thought that was just the one funny part. Is I was like, I'm really getting Digital Dave's number right now, this freaking celebrity. And then all of a sudden it was like,
I thought it was going to be Mike Jones' number.
Who?
Like that he put in the song, like you should have given him
Mike Jones.
Do we remember the number off the top of our head?
305.
What is it?
It's 8008, I think is the last four, right? I literally just saw somebody put it.
I'm going to ask Google what Mike Jones' number is.
281-330-8004.
8004. Okay, I was pretty close. I thought it was. Apparently, it doesn't say boob.
Yeah, I know some people. I know some people from back in the day that called Mike Jones.
Yeah. I wonder, what happens if we call the number right now? Like, who has the number?
Dude, no, Koo called it like a year or two ago, like just drunk at night. We obviously figured out that it was gone. I think it's like a dead number now. Because
everyone has it.
Like I think it's like when back in the '80s, like nobody in any area code wanted 867-5309 because people would call it up and ask for Jenny, and now nobody wants Mike Jones' number because you would just get phone calls after phone calls.
Wait, no. Mike Jones says he has the 281-330-8004 number again.
Oh, wow.
The number is back on all the way in his business.
That's how you stay relevant, man.
He tweeted it out.
You drop your phone number, and then you bring it back 15 years later.
Call Mike Jones, 281-330-8004.
Mike Jones.
Yep. And also, don't forget, we have a phone number that you can call at any time, and that is 341-46-KEVIN. So, yeah, if we'll bring it back in 15 years and be super popular. Love that you did that. So, Dave, I guess you have djdigitaldave.com. Everybody can find everything you there. You also, I know you do a lot of coaching stuff. Do you want to give that like a quick plug? Because, you're talking about turning people that are like 5s, 6s, 7s into like 8s or 9s. You obviously have an amazing service.
I do, like one-on-one coaching sessions. Just emailing me at dave@djdigitaldave.com is just kind of the best way to set that up. Cool. And I periodically, not kind of as much at this time of the year because I'm so busy with football and weddings and clubs, but, during kind of like sometimes the winter, spring and summer months, I will do even some Zoom classes, like some of the seminars that I've given at conferences. I've given also like as Zooms, where just kind of, it's like just whatever pay, amount varies depending on what exactly the seminar is. But, I've given some of those throughout Zoom. So I'll usually post about that on my Facebook or my, not Twitter, but Instagram, which my Instagram is at djdigitaldave1. So you can check me out on there as well.
The number
DJ
one.
Digital Dave, the number one, correct.
The number one. That's awesome, man. Well, you've told a number of dad jokes, and we like to end our show with dad jokes. So I've got do you have any favorite dad jokes? First off, Dave, besides the hilarious ones that you've slipped in the cracks throughout this thing, are there any like?
I like kind of off the cuff jokes. More so than just kind of like funny in the moment kind of comments that more so than like a setup joke with a punchline.
Yeah. So I've been struggling lately with my dad jokes. Shorty hasn't liked any of them in many weeks. It's probably been like 4 weeks since I've told a joke that he's liked.
Got our dad joke.
So I'm trying to take a different angle and not do as much of a punchline. But this segment does very much feel like, oh, you're a comedian, say something funny.
Well, so we also rate
it's
them.
like, yeah.
So from 0 to 10, 1 to 10, whatever, what's the dad joke rating here? We started this, Kevin used to do dad jokes with me on the radio, and then I got fired. I don't know if you know that. You take a drink or two, you're fired. Okay, so we all know the rules. Cool.
But he's drinking.
Love it.
But he knows to drink.
Okay, we know the rules here. And so we continued it here on the podcast. But Kevin's jokes lately, lackluster at best. So let's hope there's a redemption for the dad joke.
You might say that they're pretty dead. And I actually heard recently that the man who invented throat lozenges died, like just last week or something like that. Apparently, there was no coffin at the funeral.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So I got a decent one. I got a decent one here.
I'm so glad.
You gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. All right, cool. I'll make it quick then. Dave, what do you think?
No,
He's got
one.
one.
Mine here.
You got one. Let's go.
Yeah, I hit the random access memory. This was one I liked. So a mom goes to her husband. Wife goes to her husband and she said, look, our 4-year-old son has, trying to stick a paperclip into an electrical socket. What should I do? And the husband says, ground him until he learns how to conduct himself.
Okay. There you go. See?
That was a good
See?
one. That was a good one.
That's a great one. That's like, it's got like 2 meanings.
That was good, dude. That was
actually, I messaged Dave on Facebook because he said like the closer of the evening, and it was Closer by the Chainsmokers, and I was like, oh, I get it, because it's like it's closer, but it's also your closer, And because they're spelt the same way.
Yeah.
And Dave literally just said, very funny. Like, no laugh.
There was, you were definitely reading into puns that weren't there.
Bro,
when you tell dad jokes for like 3 years straight every single week, eventually it becomes ingrained into you, and I'm just like, maybe.
I had one of those Instagram moments last week too. I was messaging Glenn Roush from LaForce, and I'm selling the sound switch boxes. And so he goes, how much do you want them, or how much can I buy them from me? I gave him the price. I said, for you, I'll give him, whatever. And then literally like 2 hours later, he's like, never mind, I have to hire an electrician. And I replied back and said, you don't need an electrician to plug these things in. And I got left on red like nothing. I was like, well, I thought it was funny, but I guess not.
Yep. Glenn did not. By the way, Glenn will be on next week.
Glenn Roush confirmed. Will be on next week.
Glenn Roush next week. We got some big hitters.
We'll segue.
We got some big hitters coming up here. Obviously starting off with Dave.
Well, it was good being on. Yeah, I do feel like, I don't know. I feel like there was so much more to talk about. I feel like
so much.
So I'm
it's
more
hard
than happy
to get it
to
all
come
out.
back on whenever. Hit me
cool,
up.
Man.
Let me know.
We will, man. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Radio Shorty podcast with DJ Hi Kevin, with our boy DJ Digital Dave, Mr. Dave Lander. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks for checking out the Radio Shorty podcast with DJ Hi Kevin. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as videos on our YouTube page. For exclusive clips and highlights, check out our Instagram and TikTok at Radio Shorty Podcast, and we will see you next Tuesday.